Okay, welcome to the third and final video for our math practice. In this video, we're going to go over the last and final page of our math practice test. So these are problems 22, 23, 24, and 25. Okay, let's start with problem number 22. Let's read the problem first, and then we'll figure out what type of problem this is. There were some frogs on a rock. 9 more frogs jump on the rock. Now there are 14 frogs on the rock. How many frogs were on the rock at first? Okay, so if you've been watching these videos, I think that there are some keywords here that will tell us what type of problem this is. So I want you to just tell me, what type of problem do you think this is? Do you think it's a start, change, result, a part, whole, or compare? That's right. It's a start, change, result because we can see some of these keywords. So we talked about start, change, results, and we know in a start, change, result, we're adding more or we're giving some away. And we can see here that 9 more frogs come to the rock. So we're adding more frogs. And we also see our question sounds like a question we saw earlier. How many frogs were on the rock at first? And we remember at first means the start. We also see the word now. And we know when we see now, that's telling us the result. Okay? So let's go ahead and go through and label the different parts of our equation. So we know that the question is asking about the start. And we also see this keyword here, some, which is our unknown number. So there were some frogs on a rock. That's what's happening at the beginning of our problem. So that is the start. We have a box for that word. Then it says 9 more frogs jump on the rock. So 9 more are coming. This is our change. When we add more or take some away, that's always going to be our change. Now there are 14 frogs on the rock. When we see now, that means we're looking at a result. So 14 is the result, or how many we have at the end. So let's go ahead and write our equation. So we have sum for the start, which means we draw a box. It says 9 more come, so we need to add 9, that's right. And it equals our result, which is 14. Okay, and we can check to make sure that this is correct by looking at the question. The question says, how many frogs were on the rock at first? So at first is what it's asking about, and at first is the start. So we are correct because we have a box at the start. Now we can draw our picture. So what we're going to do for our picture, we're looking for the partner to 9 in this equation. So we're going to count up from 9 until 14 to find that partner. So I'm going to write 9, and then I'm going to draw circles until I get to 14. So 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I'm going to double check just to make sure I did the right thing. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay, that looks good. And now I can count these circles to find that missing partner. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 circles. So I know my answer is 5. Now I'm going to go back to the question to find my label. My label is always going to come after the words, how many. So here it says, how many frogs? So we're going to write frogs. Okay, let's go on to number 23. Okay, number 23. Let's read it. Allison read 16 pages. She reads 9 more pages than Jack. How many pages does Jack read? Okay, so this I think is a little tricky. Because again, we see this word more here. So we might think, oh, we're adding more on, just like the last problem. It's a start, change, result. But this is trying to trick you a little bit because it doesn't only say the word more. It says she reads 9 more than. So then is always going to be there when we're comparing two things. So that right away tells me this is a compare problem. Okay, so in this compare problem, we're talking about two people, Allison and Jack. So let's draw our compare bars. Okay, and we need to decide who's read more and who has read fewer. Let's go back to this sentence. She reads 9 more pages than Jack. She is talking about who? It's talking about Allison, that's right. So if we just read this sentence without the number, we can see Allison reads more than Jack. So Allison is reading more. So that lets me know that Allison needs to go on the top and Jack needs to go on the bottom. So now I'm looking to see how many pages Allison read. And I can see the first sentence is Allison read 16 pages. So I'm going to write 16 here for Allison. Jack, it says she reads 9 more than Jack. How many pages does Jack read? So how many pages does Jack read is our question. So I need to put a question mark here for Jack's pages. Then the difference is how many more than or fewer than they've read. And we see 9, she's read 9 more than. So we're going to write 9 for the difference. Now we can take these numbers and go ahead and plug them into our equation. More minus fewer equals the difference. So for more, we have 16 minus fewer, which we have a question mark there. So we'll write the box equals 9 for the difference. Okay. Now, to get the missing partner, we can either count up from 9 to 16. We could count back 9 from 16. Or we can use our mental math to do 16 minus 9. So if we did that, 16 minus 9. 16 is 10 and 6, and 9 is 6 and 3. So if I do 10 and 6 and 6 and 3, then if I take away the 6, I need to do 10 minus 3. 10 minus 3 is 7. So my answer is 7. And I could count up just to make sure. From 9, I can count up 7 more. And if I do that, that takes me to 16, just as a double check. Now I'm going to look for my label. I'm looking after the words how many. And I see how many pages does Jack read? So I know my label should be pages. So our answer here is 7 pages. And we can go ahead on to number 24. Okay, we're on number 24. We only have 2 more problems of the test left. So let's go ahead and read number 24. There are 6 sheep, 2 horses, and some cows in a field. There are a total of 14 animals in the field. How many cows are in the field? Okay, so I'm seeing that there are a bunch of different animals and they're all together in a field. So that tells me that since there are all these different types of animals all being added together in a field, this is a part whole problem. And I need to count and see how many different types of animals there are to know how many parts are in this problem. I see sheep, horses, and cows. So that tells me there are 3 parts here. So I'm going to do part 1, part 2, and part 3. So for part 1, we would have sheep, part 2 is horses, and part 3 is cows. And we're going to add all the parts together as we always do in a part whole. Okay, and for sheep, it says there are 6 sheep, and then there are 2 horses, and then it just says some cows. So we're going to draw a box for the cows. And for the whole, we're looking at all of the animals that are all together in the field. And that says there are a total of 14 animals in the field. So I'm going to write 14 for the whole. Okay, so now to make solving this a little bit easier, I'm going to add 6 and 2 together. So 6 plus 2 equals 8. I'm going to join these 2 together and write 8. Now I have 8 plus box equals 14. So I'm going to come over and draw my picture to solve this. I'm going to count up from 8 all the way to 14 to find my missing addend or my missing partner. So I'm going to count 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I'm just going to count one more time to make sure I didn't make a mistake. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay, and now I can count the circles to find the missing partner, which we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 circles. So my answer is going to be 6. Now I can go up and look for my label, which I'm looking after the words how many. And here we see how many cows are in the field. So I'm going to write 6. 6 cows. Okay, let's go on to our final problem. Now, this one's a little tricky because we had to write about our answer. So first it says to choose an odd number. Now you can choose any odd number. If you remember, odd numbers are numbers that have one left over that doesn't have a partner. So I'm just going to choose my favorite odd number, which is 3. So I finished that part. I chose my odd number. Now I'm going to do the next part. Write a doubles equation with your number. So doubles equation is when we add the same number 2 times. We do it twice. So we would do 3 plus 3. And since it's an equation, we need to write equals and the value on the other side. So 3 plus 3 equals 6. Okay, so my doubles equation is done. Check. Now, explain how you know the sum of your equation is even. As you remember, the total is called the sum in an addition equation. So my sum here is 6. I need to explain how do I know that 6 is an even number. So for this number specifically, I can say when 2 groups of 3 are added together, there are equal groups and there are none left over. So when 2 groups of 3 are added together, there are equal groups with none left over. You could also write that everyone has a partner. Okay, so that's basically how we know a number's even. When numbers are even, there are none left over, everyone has a partner. When numbers are odd, there's always going to be one that's left over that doesn't have a partner or doesn't have a friend. Okay, so make sure you remember that for this question tomorrow. I know you guys are going to do great on your test. Thank you for watching the videos and for practicing and working hard always. And I'll see you tomorrow. Good night.